What it do, everybody? It's your boy Edgar here, coming at you again with a official first episode of the Flickitall cast here on Foreign Disciples. Glad to see that you made it back. Still no co-host, but it is what it is. We gotta work things out, make things right. The sun will shine, as Troy Bolton once famously said. And we're just gonna once again wing it on a one-man show here. You already know me. I only do one take. Let's get right into it. So you already know what the drill is. What was I up to in the past week? What did I do? What did I play? What did I see? What did I say? Well, for starters, let's just say I really like Final Fantasy. I really like Final Fantasy. Coming up on the channel in the next month or two is a Final Fantasy related very special video. Won't exactly go over what it is, but let's just say I've put way too much of an investment on this because I've been playing through a lot of Final Fantasy games recently, and some of the most notable ones that I played, or at least tried playing, is today in the mail I finally got Final Fantasy Chronicles for the PS1. Because I've never played Final Fantasy IV. Literally the only ways you can are the PS1 release, the DS, or the PSP remake. Also came to Android and iPhone, but who gives a shit about them phone ports? They're very bad. Anyways, Final Fantasy IV on the PS1, tried playing it on my PS3, and I now understand why they didn't release this game on the PlayStation Store. The emulation is just... something's off, man. There's this glitch with the shadows that constantly makes them flicker in every room. And it's like not even every shadow, it's just random ones. It's really weird. It's, I'd say, pretty distracting because it's only with the water when it starts flashing orange. That's when it's the most distracting. But yeah, like, it's not unplayable, but there's definitely a reason why it didn't come to the PlayStation Store. And there's probably better use at playing the PSP or DS versions. Hell, maybe even the Android and iOS versions are better than playing the PS1 version on the PS3. But you know what? So far, it's a pretty good game, and that's all that matters. I think the story, from what I've played so far, is probably one of the best in the series. I really like the whole guy questioning his morals of the actions he's doing for his kingdom and whatnot. Good shit right there, man. Final Fantasy IV, I feel like low-key isn't talked about as one of the better ones. Speaking of talked about as one of the better ones, Final Fantasy X. Gamers? Fellas? I got a question. Why do I keep seeing you guys champion 10 as one of the best ones, when in fact, I personally believe it's one of the biggest abomination pieces of dog shit I've ever fucking played in my life? Like, how would you guys play and say, yes, I want to invest 100 hours into this unskippable bad cutscenes, pretty good combat mechanics? I'm not gonna lie, I'd say combat wise it's probably one of the best in the series, but you know what? That doesn't make for a great game if you have to sit through like 50 hours of really bad dialogue and cutscenes, man. I don't get it. I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for that one, but that is a hill I am gladly willing to die on because that game is pure dog shit. Speaking of dog shit, Final Fantasy X-2. Tried a bit of that out for the first time. Played about an hour. Honestly, wanted to quit after the first minute from that FMV of Yuna and friends singing their J-pop song. I kind of died a little inside. I don't even like the characters to begin with, but turning a religious character like Yuna into a skimpy outfitted J-pop star, just, I don't know, man. Just, it didn't sit right with me. But what I will give it is that the story, from what I've seen so far, seems far more ambitious than the first one. And I like the alterations they did to the combat mechanics. Like, they added the dress sphere. Yes, I know it was made to just try to dress all the party members into the skimpiest clothes possible for the pleasure of the male gaze. But, Japan will be Japan, and they just be making their games to jack off to. But you know what? I like the fact that outfits are made to give different abilities to characters. So gameplay wise, it works. Visual wise, it's for these horny ass dudes. But it is what it is. And I'm pretty sure that what's her name, Riku, because it takes place 2 years after 10, so she's 17 in this game, and they're dressing her up in just a bikini and a mini skirt. I don't know, man. I don't feel like I want to sit through that, man. You could only stare at that for so long without losing your goddamn mind. Anyways, speaking of losing your goddamn mind, Final Fantasy Adventures. Now, this, of course, became a spin-off franchise. Or not a spin-off franchise. It started as a spin-off for the Game Boy, and then became a franchise all of its own, the Mana series. And so, Final Fantasy Adventures is actually Adventures of Mana, and they remade it for the PS Vita and phones. I have the Vita version, and that game, sigh. It's like eating potato chips. Like, it's good, I guess, but like, you can only do it for so long until you crave something real, a real meaty experience, like 13-2 perhaps? I can already hear you screaming, Ree! You hate 10, but you like 13-2? Ree! Until I say, yes, bitch, I like 13-2. I think it is a great improvement in every way to 13, which is the one I can understand why people hate. I don't poisonally hate 13, but I can see how misguided it is. Just saying. People like the linearity of 10, but hate it when it's done 13. I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm just saying something ain't right. Anyways, 13-2, they open up the levels a lot more. Combat's slightly refined. It's pretty close to what it was in 13, which I personally didn't think was too bad of a combat system. And then, I like the characters this time. I don't think they're boring as shit. The fact that you're constantly engaged in the dialogue with the dialogue options, I think was a really nice addition. In 15, the dialogue options were literally, oh god. I only do one take. We're going to keep that in. Anyways. The dialogue options in 15 were so pointless that I just felt like it was trying to just replicate everything a Western RPG does. I mean, that's really what 15 was. Just the most Western Final Fantasy trying to appeal to as many gamers as possible. But in 13-2, the dialogue options really, they don't per se matter, but it's just really interesting. Like, you could choose what you were curious about. Like, you could ask, oh, is this character okay? What happened to this? Or what happened to that? And it's just, I don't know, it shows like you choose one thing and you'll never know about the others. And I guess I haven't seen that in the game, really. It's not too impactful to anything, but it's just something neat that I personally appreciate. I don't know, I feel like people are too hard on the 13 series. 13-3, Lightning Returns? That's a different story. I dip my toes a little into that turd pool. It's not too bad, but it is very bland. Lame, I'd say. Combat's slightly refined, but I much personally prefer the 13-2 system, though like I said, it's not that different from 13. Speaking of combat systems that are drastically different from the Final Fantasy franchise, the final one I tried out was Chocobo's Mystery Dungeon 2. If you don't know what that one is, ask your mother about that one. It was probably before your time. A little-known spin-off franchise. Probably took off more in Japan than it did here. I mean, yeah, we did get some releases. Like, we got Chocobo's Mysterious Dungeon, I believe it's called, on the Wii. And they did an updated version for that just a few months ago and released on the Switch and PS4. Interested in checking that one out, but nice to go back to basics. We didn't get one here in the West. We got two in like late 90s for the PS1, and the game is like a randomly generated dungeon crawler. It's simple enough, pretty good. The only thing that makes it challenging is if you die, you lose all your items that you picked up. But you can go back to where you were and reclaim everything. It's very Dark Souls, if you will. I hate when people compare everything to Dark Souls, but this is one of those cases where it makes sense because it's literally the exact same thing where you pick something up after you die so you don't lose it, you know? So maybe Dark Souls was inspired by Chocobo's Mystery Dungeon 2. Who knows? Pretty okay game, but also pretty rare game. I personally, if you're not a diehard Final Fantasy fan like I am, I personally wouldn't pick it up. Probably set you back, complete in box, like $30 at bare minimum, maybe? I don't know. With those $30, you could probably buy a better, more modern Final Fantasy game. But, you know, it's worth a look. Maybe look up some Let's Plays on YouTube. Speaking of things to watch, finally we're off that Final Fantasy topic. What have I been up to in the movie sphere? Well, I watched this little gem called, Robin Hood Men in Tights. Oh, white people, oh, I'm on to you now. Oh, y'all keep tricking me. Y'all say Bill Murray's like some comedy god, some Second City god or whatever. And then I watched Groundhog Day, and that movie's complete dog shit. And then Robin Hood Men in Tights, I couldn't even sit through. I think the humor be as dry as y'all's chicken. I don't know, man. Something's not right. You gamers are lying to me about Final Fantasy X. You white film buffs with moppy hair and really big mustaches that aren't properly trimmed keep coming at me saying, oh, nah, Bill Murray and Mel Brooks movies, man, they're the funniest thing. My dad showed them to me as a kid, and we laugh our ass off every time. No, dude, I promise you, it's only you people that find that movie funny. I promise you, there's way better ones out there. Please, broaden your comedic horizons. All funny movies were made after the 80s. I do not apologize for that sentiment. It's a complete lie. One of my favorite movies and comedies of all time is Some Like It Hot. But you know what? That's a topic for another day. We're going to get off this Robin Hood Men in Tights tangent. Just do better, white people. Recommend better movies down in the comments below for me. You know? Shit. Speaking of better movies, the Brady Bunch movies. Now that... oh, you already know what I'm saying. you picking up what I'm putting down? Oh, yeah, you know. Yeah, that's that good cinema, baby. That's that auteur theory. That's that mise en scène. That's some good shit right there, boys. Fucking Brady Bunch is like, personally, what I feel like every modern reboot of old things should be. Though it came out in the 90s, it feels like the exact formula of what some reboots are trying to do. Like the Smurfs, just put them in the modern New York City. Look how that worked out. Not good. Brady Bunch, put them in modern 90s times. And the whole joke is that they're stuck in the 70s. It's fucking incredible. You just gotta do it right, I suppose, is a lesson. I think the first one's funny as shit, and I like how every subplot has somewhat, at least a slight resolution to it. They're at least wrapped up. You get closure. I can't say the same for the sequel. Though I think the bad guy, who's posing as the dad, is like one of the funniest fucking characters I've ever seen in a movie. He's the only saving grace for it. Otherwise, it'd be a pretty bad sequel, because the subplots are horrible. Like, the siblings want to fuck, and it's the most horrifying scene. Like, it's literally shot like the fucking shower scene from Psycho. You just see a silhouette behind a white curtain. I have nightmares to this day. He's just watching his sister change. She's watching her brother change. And then it's after that they realize, hey, our parents weren't, just got married after we were born. So does that mean we're not related? So that means they're staring each other with lust in their eyes. Let's say that. They're staring each other with lust in their eyes before realizing they're not related. White people, let's strike two. No, no, no. Y'all disgusting. Y'all keep shooting up my public places that should be safe and fucking your relatives and siblings. Speaking of white people, I think it's time we drop the jokes for a second. Got a little serious here on the Flickitall podcast because, as you all know, sadly there was recently multiple tragic mass shootings here in the United States. We had the Walmart shooting in El Paso, and that surprisingly has had a lot of impact on the country in ways that do not make sense whatsoever. In response to the Walmart shooting, Walmart decided to completely stop selling violent video games for the time being. And yay, fucking Walmart. You're the fucking heroes of the country. You solved mass murder. You solved white supremacy by, God forbid, you stopped selling Grand Theft Auto 5 for the 12-year-olds to play online. Fucking wahoo for you, assholes. The fact that they sell guns and refuse to stop the selling of them just says a lot about our country's priorities. Like Trump also coming at Fox News and Trump, because of course they go hand in hand. Here at Foreign Disciples, we don't tend to get too political, but I will not deny my hatred for Donald Trump and the Republican Party. That is just something I'll be straight up about. If you're about that life, you can get the fuck right out of my channel. I'll leave a dislike. I don't give a shit. Fuck you. I want nothing to do with you if you support this piece of shit spouting hatred and lies. His white supremacy beliefs that he's spouting to all these susceptible followers of his, that, like, it's his rhetoric and his words that at this point encourage the hatred in our country, that cause the shootings like this. And then he's just elaborating further on his bullshit by blaming video games as the problem and saying something along the lines, oh yeah, and mental health too. Like, you fucking idiot. Video games are not the problem. Guns are the problem. You can't have mass shootings if there's not guns to do them with in the first place. There are people with mental illness everywhere in the world. There are people with video games everywhere in the world. You know what they don't have? The highest mass shooting numbers, fucking tenfold compared to the rest of the world. And then another thing, similar to the video games thing, the reason why I'm bringing up in this news section is because Universal also got cold feet. Their newest movie that was supposed to come out in literally a little over a month, The Hunt, got scrapped following the gun violence uproar. I'm just going to read from a Hollywood Reporter article of the matter here. The studio's decision came a day after President Trump took aim at the film, saying it was, quote, made to inflame and cause chaos. Oh, fuck you, asshole. You're the one doing that, if anything. Anyways, the story follows a group of elites hunting, quote, deplorables for sport. Universal has decided to scrap the release of The Hunt, an R-rated satire in which elites hunt deplorables for sport, following a series of mass shootings across the country. The film had been set to hit theaters September 27th. Even before Trump weighed in, the movie sparked an outcry on social media amid the public anger over gun violence, and networks entered into the conversation when ESPN pulled an ad for the film that it had previously cleared. Subsequently, Universal pulled all spots. And this is where I go into, once again, another raid of pure cowardice and just misguided solutions to easily solvable problems. Had the effort been put in by our lawmakers here in the US of A. Like I said with the Walmart thing, stopping a movie from releasing is not an answer. to stopping mass shootings. You fucking idiots. Suppressing art. See, after the Dark Knight theater shooting, they stopped playing the ads for Gangster Squad that showed a theater shooting in part of the trailer. That makes complete sense. You don't want to be at the theaters seeing a theater shooting that reminds you of, hey, wasn't there a theater shooting recently? Damn, now I kind of want to leave and don't want to sit in this theater to watch this movie where a theater shooting could happen. That's a easy to follow logic. A movie about rich people killing poor people and poor people standing up to that? You think that's going to cause mass shootings? If anything, that's going to get conversation going. That's going to get people trying to hold those in power accountable for their actions, which is what should be happening. The people in power should stop these shootings, not stopping the movies talking about. It's not even specifically about mass shootings, but like, you could still make the connection. Clearly, the people complaining about the movie's existence are making a connection to the real world shootings. So, that's what art is. It's about seeing the real world through a fictionalized lens, and it's a dangerous precedent for censorship in the U.S. with, once again, video games are a form of art being censored by just outright not being sold at Walmarts. Fucking movies being censored, not coming out at all, another form of art censorship. It's just, when will this stop? Why are we doing the most pointless solutions to easily solvable problems? This has to stop now. But like that one tweet I read a few years ago said, the conversation for gun control in the U.S. was over the moment they decided that kids being able to get shot in schools and still not have anything done about guns is the loudest answer you could give. They don't give a shit about kids. Everyone can die. Just let me keep my guns, please. I am an insecure white man and I need my rifle to equate to my self-worth. That is more important than the lives of our citizens. It's been said, it's been done, and now we're just pulling bullshit solutions, stopping these creations of art from coming out. Like, to be honest, it's a Blumhouse movie, probably made for little money. A few people maybe have seen it. It probably would have made a profit. I don't think many people would have cared about it. It would have been easily forgotten, but no. Now you brought negative attention to yourselves, Universal, and look where you are. Looking like a fool with your pants on the ground. Pants on the ground. Pants on the ground. Yeah. On a better note, we got some weird news here. ComingSoon.net reports Todd Phillips' Joker projected to surpass Aquaman and Shazam openings. Which, I'm not gonna lie, it sounds a little ridiculous, especially when you get into the numbers. Here, quote, the site's report projects tracking for the film to make somewhere between 60 and 90 million in a 77 million 3-day weekend, which would put it above the opening weekend grosses for Aquaman, 67.8 million, and Shazam, 53.5 million. Now, Shazam is the most family-friendly DC movie they've released yet, marketed heavily as a comedy, and it only made 53.5 million in its opening weekend, and it was PG-13. Aquaman, probably tied, maybe a little less marketable towards kids, 67.8 million opening weekend, PG-13. Joker, rated R. Oscar buzz is around it. It's premiering at the Venice Film Festival and playing at Toronto. And you think it's going to make numbers like that in opening weekend? I sure fucking hope so, but these projections are really bold, man. Bold move, Cotton. Let's see how it pays off. Because I personally wouldn't believe that it'd make that much money. Like, I believe it'd probably be a super successful movie for being R-rated just because it's the Joker, a known property. Joaquin Phoenix is like one of the greatest actors to have ever grazed the silver screen. And you got all this Oscar hype and awards season chatter already, and it hasn't even premiered yet. Like, it's got nothing but good things going for it. So, maybe PEMDAS, shit cancels on. That is the reason it could actually outdo all the DC movies so far in opening weekend. I don't know. Just an interesting thing I saw, because maybe R-rated movies, because we know with R-rated movies they've been profitable with Deadpool and Logan, but maybe they're really here to stay. Maybe it's just only comic book R-rated movies that have a chance. I don't think Hellboy did too hot, but that was bad. Joker's supposed to be good. Maybe good movies sell. Doesn't matter on the rating. We'll just have to wait and see come October. Because goddamn, I am fucking hyped for that movie. You already know I'll be one of those tickets on the 3-day opening weekend. Speaking of movies opening, this is a really funny article someone sent me. I just have to share it. And you know what? I didn't even read it yet because I wanted to save my reaction for it to be recorded live here on this podcast of ours. Josh Gad on new cast additions, political messages in the Angry Birds movie 2. So we're going to skip the casting stuff. And we're going to get to Josh Gad's take on how this is politically relevant. This Angry Birds sequel of ours. The Angry Birds movie 2 sees the constantly at odds Angry Birds and the Green Pigs teaming up to take on a common enemy that has put all of their homes in danger, which Gad says seems especially timely in this political climate. He says, quote, "The movie has some amazing messaging in it, not the least of which is overcoming differences with people you disagree with in order to find a common ground, which I think speaks a lot to a lot of issues we're dealing with right now," he said. Like, yeah, I understand every movie is political. You may not think it, but like, everything has a message to it. It contributes towards a grander idea. So I could see where he's coming from, but I don't know, I just thought it was funny and cute of Josh Gad to be like, yeah, doesn't this Angry Birds movie remind you of politics, baby? Does it remind you of the great divide in our country? It's like, yeah, I guess that's a way to read into it, Josh Gad, but I don't know. I had politics on mine. I think I just had basic human ideology of working together with thine enemy, Love thy enemy is what they say. I don't know. Just a little pointless article I thought was cute. Speaking of what I thought was cute, let's talk about the heartwarming, the heart-throbbing, the lovely movie, Lords of Chaos. Now, if you don't know what this movie is, it's essentially like I'd call it a horror movie, thriller kind of movie, a horror thriller, let's say. It's actually based on a true story. Some things for dramatic purposes were altered because some can't truly know what happened and motives and this and that. But it's basically a story about this Norwegian black metal band named Mayhem. Now, this band was hugely important in getting Norwegian black metal onto the map in the 90s. And this was the band that really got the ball rolling. And mostly focuses on the co-founder Euronymous, who is played by Macaulay Culkin's brother Rory. You never really see him in anything, but I for a second thought it was fucking Macaulay Culkin playing the lead. Anyways, yeah, so the movie's just about Mayhem and all the antics they got into to gain notoriety and the cost of it all. Thematically, I really enjoy this movie. I'll just start with that. I gave it a 3.5 out of 5 stars on Letterboxd. And if you haven't seen it yet or are interested in watching it again for this little discussion of ours, you can watch it on Hulu for free right now. I'm not sure where else it is free, but if you don't have Hulu, maybe feel like renting it, Lords of Chaos. It's not an easy watch, I will warn you. It is extremely graphic and grotesque. I can handle a lot of things. Video games and movies have desensitized me visually to a lot of gore and stuff like that, but this movie really pushes it. is fucking horrifying, especially when it's a true story. So yeah, just keep that in mind before you watch it if you're a little queasy in the stummy. But yeah, this is thematically, it's a movie about ego and toxic masculinity and just men's insecurities about wanting to be better than one another. Which, I don't know, people are like, no, it's just a movie based on a true story, man. There's nothing, no liberal agenda bullshit. Fuck your SJW toxic masculinity talk. Like, no, bro. Literally, they want to outdo each other so bad they fucking, like, do crimes and commit murder and shit. Like, don't you dare tell me they're perfectly comfortable with who they are as men. I just love it because all just a ego trip dick swinging competition throughout, but taken to absolute extremes. And like, the main guy, Euronymous, is like trying so hard to be this face of black metal. Like, this is the real black metal. This is suffering and death. We don't enjoy anything in life. We revel in the suffering. It's the most edgelord shit ever. I love it. He's like, when people listen, we want people to kill themselves when they listen to our music. Like, that's fucking hardcore. That's metal as fuck, man. Because quite little known fact about me is yours truly here used to be a huge metalhead back in, well, I've liked metal since Guitar Hero 3 came out. I was a kid, but I truly came to like black metal and punk music the second half of 8th grade. Thanks to this little site called Tumblr, I really got into it all. And this movie kind of is like, I, of course, was never the kind to, like, be goth and, like, dress like that, but it just kind of brought me back to a time of just angst and rebellion. But these guys just absolutely took it to extremes, to the likes of which I haven't really seen explored in a movie that's, like, true story and music related. I don't know. I really enjoyed it. Because, yeah, the group is just, the main guy's just trying to promote this image of, I am death. This music is death. But then, like, in the very beginning, you see he's, like, very soft. He likes this music, and he has this little band that he plays with his friends, and he shows some signs of darkness and fucked upness, like when he tells his friend to cut the other friend while he's holding him down. Like, it's tense. You're like, what the fuck? Because you're like, is this really what it's like? The whole movie's just going to be him telling people to do fucked up shit? But then you see him just be normal, play around with his little sister, be a family guy. Like, it's just guys throwing their all into becoming the people they want to be and just losing every semblance of themselves just to try to become the idealized version of themselves. Like, that says a lot too, man. I really enjoyed that aspect because he's just sinking further and further into doubling and tripling down on this image he's created of himself. And at times there's just these slight moments where you see in his expressions or in his hesitance to speak, in his eyes you can see what he's doing he doesn't truly believe in. And then after those few moments of doubt and hesitance, he just completely doubles down on his persona, says, nope, this is what we're doing, this is the way I want it, if you don't like it, get the fuck out. And that, I mean, it's based on a true story, but I guess I personally didn't know that this was even a true story until I finished the movie. But I guess I don't want to spoil this true story. So let's just say there's one extremely gruesome scene. Well, there's actually two, but one's like twice as bad because it just does what the first one did and more, of self-mutilation. Now, I normally don't like it when movies show self-mutilation because I know some of you are going to say, oh, you're going to say trigger warning. What are you, an SJW? Like, no, like, yeah, if you have trigger warnings about self-harm, suicide, and depression, do not listen to this episode, because this movie revels in this shit like I haven't seen movies lately do so. So, yeah, that's another thing I should probably say. But anyways, yeah, like, there's scenes of, like, self-mutilation. They're so goddamn hard to watch. It is more horrifying than any jump scare that normal Hollywood horror movies produce. And normally I don't like seeing self-mutilation in my movies, but in this one it fit with the whole idea of, like, these guys are like, I'm suffering, I want my music to represent the suffering I feel, I want everyone to suffer with me by listening to this music. And so basically, like, the music they make is a therapeutic way to self-harm, just talking about all this negative energy they have in it and releasing it. And then literally self-mutilating is just so hard to watch. It's awful, it's sad, and it's just a really, really hard movie to watch. But that's why I think makes it good. Like, it's very challenging. I don't expect you to show this to your friends and family and just highly recommend it, but it's really a movie worth exploring and talking about, not dismissing, because it was very controversial when it came out. People were hating on it. It has horrible reviews, considered one of the worst of the year, but I don't know, I feel like it has a lot to say, and it's a message I think people should listen to. Yeah, that self-mutilation shit's horrifying. And then our main character just has to play it off like it's nothing. You know, like, this music is death. I can't be affected by death. I'm just going to keep going and double down. I can't show emotion. And then slowly as the movie goes on, he shows more and more emotion, tries to break away from this image he's created. And then there's that one guy who joins the band. And then it becomes a more standard music movie where, oh, the newcomer's starting to get more attention, notoriety than the main person is. We must stop that. And then that happens, and he creates Frankenstein's monster, you know, a monster of his own creation. That, oh, fuck it, I guess spoiler alert, question mark? Once again, it's a true story, but I guess I'll say spoiler every time I'm going to spoil something. Like, the guy ends up killing him in the end. I'm fucking blanking on his, I know his count, but I'm not sure what he was called in real life, though. Sorry, gotta stop for a second to look up. No, his name's dead. Faust. Varg, right. My bad. Fucking Varg, yeah. So, then the whole movie becomes a dick-swinging competition between Varg and Euronymous. And it's just so fascinating to watch, because Varg is just like Euronymous in the fact that they start off as soft boys, but they just want to be like the things they idolize so bad that they just entirely lose themselves and just keep doubling, tripling, quadrupling down on this image they have of themselves in their head. It just leads to this violent, horrible path, a dark, dark path. And it's so scary to watch. It was all real, man. And I don't know. I have some problems with the movie. Like, for example, he just has his dad or his parents pay for his own record store. And then he mentions starting his own record label, but I don't see, it's not shown in the movie where he does. So it's just like, oh, okay, I guess he has a record label. He just starts as a dude playing in a band in his basement at his mom's house with two of his friends, to just, you know, a few scenes later, yeah, we did a show, something happens, and now I have a record store and a record label, I fucking guess. But you know what? If this is a true story and that's what happened, then yeah, makes sense to include it. It's just the way of how they included it. Also, pacing sometimes gets a little old. Yeah, we get it. After the fourth church burning, I don't have to. You don't have to keep repeating it over and over again. I don't have to see that. I get it. It's getting old now. And yeah, those are my main problems with it. Just, I guess, pacing issues and how they present things and how they don't present things. But like I say, the themes of it really stuck out to me because these are just ultimately tragic characters. I mean, I know Varg did some absolutely heinous shit, and I guess maybe to an extent Euronymous, but did he really do anything? No, he's just a product of his own creation. Like, he did this to himself. He chose this life. He kept going down it. And then he tried getting out when it was too late. He had already created his own monster in Varg. And then the Reaper came to reap what he had sown, you know? And yeah, it's shot pretty weird. Sometimes it has this, like, handheld look. And it's supposed to look like a 90s music video in terms of having wide lenses while following the character around in, like, fast motion. But that's only for, like, this recurring dream sequence, because Euronymous has, like, he can't stop having nightmares and he's traumatized by the death of his friend Death. And so it makes sense thematically because it's also in black and white. But what I really do like is there's some scenes early on only, unfortunately. I thought they'd do it more often throughout, but early on they have, like, this, it's supposed to look like video camera footage taken from a 90s camera, and it looks really fucking nice. I love when movies do that. Like when Once Upon a Time in Hollywood had, like, the, like, you know, 35 millimeter look, that film grain look from the 70s, when showing, like, Rick Dalton's past movies. I really like that, but then they didn't keep consistent with it later on, like in that whole, like, 15-minute scene where they're filming his movie and it's just shot on a normal modern camera. It's really off-putting. It's inconsistent with its world's rules. So this movie doesn't have that problem necessarily. It just has the problem where it doesn't use that neat gimmick enough. I suppose it only uses it when it needs to and doesn't just forcefully implement it. So I guess I can say I give it credit for that. You know, everything in a movie is a decision made by many people, you know. So I guess it makes sense that it wasn't used throughout. I just personally wish it was, but I'm not going to knock anything against it for not doing it all the time. But yeah, that's something I really appreciate cinematography-wise. It's really like the look of it, this grainy look. It looks like an indie film. It is an indie film. Vice Pictures, I believe, helped distribute it. You know, like Vice, the news guys that do all those crazy documentaries. Yeah, they helped make this movie, and it kind of feels like that. It just feels like a movie that's telling a story, this true story about this band's demise. And it's shot to show that also, you know. Very bland colors, makes sense. It's very like, gray-looking movie. That's fine. I'm personally fine with that decision. I could see why people think it's just visually unappealing to look at, but for me, it worked considering the themes touched on in the movie. Also, the acting, pretty great, because I could see a lot of movies trying to, like, do theatrics with it, you know, because acting in theater and acting in movies is very different. You have to be more expressive and projective in theater so that everyone in the audience can hear and see you, because, you know, your vocal range only goes as far as you make it go. So, you know, you need to make sure all the people in the back can hear and see you. And in movies, you have mics up close so you can whisper, talk as loud or soft as you want, and the mic will catch it. You know, you can move the mic wherever you want to get the right audio. So, because of that, I usually tend to see in movies where the acting is theatric, they over-exaggerate, the emotions are heightened and all this. But real people don't always work like that. If you watch, like, arguments online, like online viral videos of, like, people arguing in public, yeah, sometimes they're very loud and dramatic, and sometimes they're just talking in a normal voice, but the pitch is just higher, which seems like how a lot of the anger was expressed in this movie. It wasn't like yelling. It was just I'm talking to, like, I don't know how to explain it, to be honest, but what I mean is it just felt more authentic. I could see people passing it off as bad acting, but I just really like how everyone acted. Like, especially Varg, man. Fucking shout out. Like, he's horrifyingly realistically portraying this truly disturbed man. Fuck. I get chills just thinking about it. I don't know. So, cinematography's great. Performances are great. Music, fucking excellent. If you like black metal, you'll get a kick out of this shit. I mean, if you like black metal, you probably know this story already. I like black metal, but I wouldn't say I'm like a fan of it where I'm like always listening to it. It's an acquired taste, but I'm not gonna lie. After watching this movie, yes, I did listen to Mayhem's discography, and it is fucking rad. Especially, like, in retrospect, knowing that Euronymous died just as their second album was about to release. It just, I don't know. It makes the whole album feel haunted and, like, weird to listen to. I don't know. But then again, like, it's black metal, so, like, deathy music related to actual death of a band member kind of adds, like, God, I hate myself for saying this, but it adds aesthetic to the listening experience. Because, especially in the ending, when, there's that emotional music playing as you're seeing memorabilia and whatnot, and then all of a sudden it cuts, he's like, stop with the sad bullshit. Are you serious? I just, like, trying to, like, not have it end on a sour note. He's trying to say, like, my death isn't exactly a bad thing. Like, I started a record label, opened my own record store, and had a band that put Norwegian black metal on the map. What the fuck have you done? Or something like that. Like, basically just flexing his accomplishments and then make you feel shit about yourself right before the credits start. So it's like his outlook, if he were able to watch from above or below, wherever he is, who the fuck knows what happens in the afterlife. Anyways, if you were watching from wherever, he'd probably be like, yeah, it's pretty fucking metal to listen to my album post-mortem. It adds to the whole thing. That's what I like to think personally, but I don't know. So if you're not a fan of black metal music, maybe you won't get as much of a kick out of this. If you are, you probably will get a kick out of this to some extent. Maybe not as much as I did, but maybe you'll learn something. Something about yourself, something about fragile masculinity and how it could be taken too far, and how you should just try to be yourself instead of forcing yourself to become this person you're not and pay the ultimate price for it. Because the tragic part is, at the end, Euronymous tries changing before it's too late. He symbolically has his girlfriend cut his hair. He's wearing glasses, because glasses tend to be a visual representation of what's the word? Oh my god. Why am I blanking on the word? Holy shit, this is fucking embarrassing. Of fragile or vulnerability. Jesus Christ, for some reason I was thinking it started with an I. Anyways, yeah, glasses usually tend to be a sign of vulnerability. And his girlfriend cuts his hair, showing that he's letting go of that life. He writes the letter to Varg, trying to not even, like, be friends. Like, he says, we're gonna be done after this. I just want to do the right thing and give you the rights to your music. It's just him letting go of everything. He's finally accepted that he's not that person. It's not fun anymore. He took it way too far. His friend died, and he's selling the lie of, these necklaces are made from fragments of my dead friend's skull. Oh, I ate part of his brain. Let's start that rumor. Oh, let's burn down churches. Like, he's such a try-hard, edgy boy, and then he's just trying to let that go, and it's too late. He already created the monster that kills him. I don't know. I personally think it's a wonderful movie. Flawed, gruesome, graphic. Wouldn't recommend it to most people, but I personally enjoyed it. So, if you thought of skipping out on this one, you probably shouldn't. I think it's a great movie. And I just haven't stopped thinking about it. I watched it like a few days ago, and it's just been on my mind every day since. I've been listening to Mayhem, fucking headbanging my fucking ass off. Just like, wow, what a thought-provoking movie. It has nothing grand to say necessarily they never heard of, but at the same time, it just really makes you think like, wow, people try so hard to be who they're not, and like, clearly you don't believe in what you're doing, but you just force yourself to, and you have to really step back and think, is this what you want? Is this who you are? And it's just a message I think a lot of people should hear. And yeah, so check it out. Like I said, if for some reason you sat through Spoiled and everything, then again, it's a true story, so how much can you really be spoiled? It's definitely worth a watch, and a really interesting movie that I enjoyed talking about, and I hope you enjoyed listening to me talk about, because that is it for episode 1 of the Flickitall podcast. I'd say I did somewhat okay-ish for being a one-man show again. I don't intend to have it always be a one-man show, and I can't promise consistent uploading, but it's just that I really needed to get that whole Walmart banning violent video games indefinitely, and like Universal pulling The Hunt from being released. That is just something I really needed to talk about, so that's why this is so impromptu, and finished filming at 2:17 in the morning. So I can't promise this will continue to be uploaded every week on a specific day, but I hope to. In the future. And when I do it consistently, I hope to have a co-host with me so that the conversations are more, well, that there actually is a conversation in the first place, not just one man talking his ass off. More dialogue, engagement, interaction, agreement, disagreement, you know. So I guess, sure, once again, if you're interested in being a co-host for the podcast, comment below, reach out to me or something. I think the only way you really could is by commenting down below. I don't think I have any accessible contact info. I'm not big enough for that yet. Anyways, yeah, reach out if you want to be a part of the show, because I'll take anyone's opinions. You know, you could know nothing about movies. You could know everything about movies. Fuck yeah, I'm down to just talk about them, you know? And yeah, thank you so much for tuning in again. This is episode 1, so, you know, I had episode 0 as a prototype episode, but now I kind of have more of a feel for what I want this show to be, because last time it just felt like I was analyzing the plot of the movie and not so how the movie made me feel, what I liked, what I didn't like. And I think this is a way more organic and natural, genuine conversation I'm having with myself here, basically just gushing about the movie I really enjoyed that I feel like was overlooked and more people need to see, even though it has really bad reviews. Some movies just speak to other people that, you know, some movies don't speak to people. I don't know what I said there. Never mind. Fuck it. I'm tired. It's 2:19 in the morning. We gotta catch these Z's. So, I don't know when the next episode is gonna be, but I hope to see you next time again. I'm so thankful for everyone that tunes into my work. I know some videos have unreasonable amounts of views. Most of them have no views. But you know what? That's the algorithm for you, baby. We're just trying to ride that YouTube algorithm wave, you know? We'll see where we end up. So, I'll see you guys next time. And I'm outie. Oh my god, I haven't done that outro in so long. It's so outdated. But you know what? I'm going to do it. And I am outie with the yeet.